Welcome, my friends. The title of this podcast is When the Watchdogs Fail, a Warning for Homebuyers in HOA Communities. Welcome back. And today I want to share a story, not to shock you, but to wake you up. Because if you've ever thought about buying a home in a homeowner association, or you're already in one, this is something you need to hear. We all think of HOAs as the watchdogs of our neighborhoods. They're supposed to keep things clean, safe, consistent, protect property values, enforce the rules, and make sure your neighbor doesn't let their house fall apart while yours is pristine. But what happens when those watchdogs fall asleep? Recently, I helped an investor purchase a townhome in what looked like a nice little community. The kind of place that on the surface seems well kept and well run. The association had rules about their exterior paint colors, porch repairs, and overall uniformity, which is consistent with most HOAs, the usual stuff. From the outside, everything looked fine. But when the property was purchased, we finally walked through for the first time, because that's just the way it was purchased. It was an as-is, similar to a lot of what and how it's done with us. And what we saw inside, I'll never forget. 2 large dogs, allegedly had been locked in a room for months. The floors, the walls, everything, covered in feces and urine. The smell hit you before you even reached the door. And I'm talking about the front door. And yes, a blaring boombox, which at the time of walkthrough was turned off, had been left in the room where the dogs were. Allegedly to drown out the sound of their constant barking, because of course they wanted to get out. Imagine that, month after month. Upstairs, the bathroom sink, the toilet, and even the bathtub were full, literally full, of human feces. The plumbing had backed up because over 1,000 wipes had been flushed into the pipes and clogged everything from the bathroom down to the crawl space and out to the street. So, side note, if you wipe your ass with wipes and not toilet paper, it is not biodegradable. It will clog up your pipes all the way out to the street. And if you don't have public sewer, sorry to be so blunt about this, it will destroy and clog up your septic tank. The entire home was crawling with bed bugs. There were 3 or 4 adults living there. Thank God no children. Probably there were children, but 3 or 4 adults living there full time in these conditions, sleeping, eating, breathing that air. And while all this was happening, the homeowner association, the very group meant to oversee the safety and appearance of the community, to my knowledge, said nothing. Allegedly said nothing. I have requested violation reports for the last 5 years to see for myself. Did they in fact not send violations? Did they not knock their door down to fix these things that they saw? I will find out. To my knowledge, allegedly, no warnings, no inspections, and not one fine for the structural damage or smell that neighbors must have endured. But when the investor who bought the property wanted to change the color of the siding, oh God forbid, suddenly the HOA sprang into action. Letters, notices, threats of fines. They were laser focused on the paint color. So let's think about this. We've got a home full of animal cruelty, human waste, plumbing failure, pest infection, which, by the way, it's a townhome, okay? That means the neighbor has it too. Structural hazards, yet the board was quiet. But the second the new owner tried to fix it up, that's when they got vocal? Something's backwards here. And it's not just this one community. This is a pattern I've seen again and again across Virginia. Homeowner associations are meant to protect their communities, but too often they're enforcing the wrong things. They're focused on the visible, not the vital, the cosmetic, not the core of what the problem is. Of course, they can't go in and tell you how to live your life. But are they truly protecting the safety and the property values? Or are they playing power politics, nitpicking rules just to prove they can? Under Virginia law, specifically the Virginia Property Owners Association Act, HOAs, are supposed to act reasonably, uniformly, and in good faith. Their duty is not just to keep everything looking nice. They're meant to safeguard the health, welfare, and overall value of the neighborhood. That is why they exist. Boards are expected to enforce maintenance standards, as much as we don't like it, keep detailed records, and operate transparently, because homeowners have the right to know how their communities are managed, and it is public knowledge. You can ask for any of this at any time as a homeowner. But when an association ignores a clear health hazard and then turns around to obsess over paint shades or mailbox color, that's not just poor judgment, that's negligence. And it undermines everything they're supposed to stand for. So to every HOA board out there, if you're enforcing rules about shutters and fences, but ignoring homes full of sewage and suffering animals, you're failing your members. You're supposed to be stewards of the community, not cosmetic inspectors. And to every homeowner or future buyer listening, here's your takeaway. Don't assume an HOA means protection. Ask questions. Request the meeting minutes. Review their enforcement history. Find out how they prioritize health and safety. Ask them, not just appearances. Because the truth is, not all HOAs are equal. Some uphold their duties with integrity, and others, they wield their authority like a hammer looking for a nail, picking and choosing who and what they're going to enforce. If the people entrusted to watch over the neighborhood ignore what really matters, the health, safety, and dignity of the community, then there's not much protecting you. They're protecting themselves, let's be real. So before you buy, before you sign, before you move into that well-run neighborhood, make sure the watchdogs are actually awake. This story isn't just about one house in Virginia. It's a wake-up call for anyone living under the rule of an HOA. Because when the watchdogs fail, it's the whole neighborhood that pays the price. I'm Cheryl Spangler, and you could call this the truth room.